Hello everyone to this book discussion video. We're in Book Culture Week. I'm Badis and joining me today Hanan,
Hi guys.
Kenza,
Hello, everyone.
and Ines.
Hi everyone.
Welcome and thank you for being here. So we have today The Art of War by Sun Tzu. This book was written 2,500 years ago, and it deals with warfare and how to win several battles. The author, Sun Tzu, was a military strategist and also a philosopher. He was active during an ancient Chinese civil war, which of course explains his advanced knowledge of warfare and army strategy. His book is divided into 13 chapters and is designed as a textbook of statements. Because this book is so ancient, some people even argue whether Sun Tzu ever existed or not, whether these statements were truly written by him or are just the ramifications of collected religious statements or spiritual guidebooks. This made us wonder how did this book go from a possibly inexistent writer to one of the most applied books in history of philosophy. The statements in his book are still used till today within different fields, which we will dabble with later on in the video. So to start off, what is to you guys the most interesting chapter? Your favorite part in this book?
Okay, for me, I found the fourth chapter really inspiring. It's called Tactical Dispositions, and it mostly talks about timing and planning, managing when and how to do anything. I mean, in real life, like now, we sometimes struggle with knowing when to um, take something and start it. Maybe like there is an opportunity that we kind of struggle with, wondering whether we take it or not. And in that chapter, he talks about war, but you can actually see that it can help when dealing with day-to-day situations, when planning, when doing tasks that we kind of struggle with doing, even if they're basic. And I really love that chapter. I enjoyed reading it and I enjoyed reflecting on it and comparing it to my life.
So, my favorite part of the book is that Art of War aims at depicting war as an instrument of peace and not as an instrument of destruction and chaos. So, usually, when we think of war, we get these dark images of people getting killed, of destruction, of homeless children. However, this book provides a set of strategies built upon intelligence and upon logic. So these strategies are going somehow to minimize the consequences and the cost of war. Therefore, this book incites, let's say, we can say that it incites for a peaceful war. So this is my favorite part of this book.
Well, my favorite was in the fifth chapter, Energy, when he talks about like in battle, there's not more than two methods of attack, the direct and indirect, yet there are two, in these two combinations give rise to an endless series of mana. This, like how I understood it, was like it gives hints to an endless possibility of strategies and outcomes of war, and but not only war. We can apply this, in my opinion, in every area of life. Like for example, in business, while preparing business projects or while studying for an exam, like you may have one plan, but you don't, like there's a lot of outcomes and possibilities that you don't know about, that you can fall into a trap. At least that's how I understood it.
Yeah, and we can clearly see that throughout what you guys covered as favorite chapters, that we can relate them or we can relate the statements present in this book to each and every field throughout life. And I really like this aspect in this book. Like, it might sound overdone or overtimed, let's say, but seeing how it has progressed throughout the years, and how it was used in different battles, in different strategies, like in business or every field throughout a lifetime. It's really interesting how these 13 chapters really give that advice or that guiding line for people. For me, it was the nine situations chapter, in which he talked about the varieties of grounds and how to exploit the enemy's grounds, and how to make them in your own benefit. I think what Hanan exposed as favorite part and being related to time, I think the nine situations chapter really focuses on that, and how to also exploit time, and having this balance between um, time and moving forward to reach the enemy, or to reach a certain goal projected on a certain ground.
I mean, like in his book, he's basically training leaders. Would leaders today be better if they follow what he stated in his book? What do you guys think?
Um, I noticed in the third chapter, he kind of was like referring on a winner guy versus a loser guy, which you can actually relate them to leaders. He kept emphasizing on how a winner would choose the perfect timing, a winner would choose the perfect team, a winner would choose the perfect location, which is actually things that leaders should like emphasize about: when and where to do things, who to do it with, choosing the right team. I mean, even us in our club, we do that. When we organize something, we choose a team, we choose a leader, and the leader would work with a team. Also, he mentioned the strategies, like a leader should have a known strategies that his team would know and would find it easy to work with, which is very important, I think, for a leader. And yeah, leaders should kind of read that book and use it as a notebook to kind of seek their way through leadership. What do you think, Kenza?
Yes, exactly. And the thing is that the book depicts qualities of successful and intelligent leaders. And he mentioned these qualities in the first chapter in the point entitled The Commander. So here he states a set of qualities that a leader must have in order to lead his, let's say, team, or let's say his army into success. And these qualities include wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage, and strictness. And the thing that I liked about the book is that he tries to make leaders use intelligence, or use logic when they are like before they go into war. Leaders like must not act upon feelings and upon emotions, but they must use intelligence. So like being smart. So, what about Badis? What can you say about this aspect?
I think, would leaders be better? Yes, definitely, because the leadership aspect is more detailed within this book, and you can really use it in every field within life. This maybe generates another question I wanted to ask you guys. How would you relate his tactics in choosing friends? We talked about leadership and being somehow lonely in your decisions and everything. But how do you use these tactics socially? In this case, choosing friends.
I found it interesting how he talked about allies. I mean, it's really not brought up in like one title or chapter. It's kind of talked about within chapters throughout the books, but he always like emphasized on having allies, choosing allies. Like who to trust and when to trust. I loved how he kind of emphasized on the idea of trying not to be alone. Like, either if you're in a defensive or an attacking position, always make sure to have someone by your back, someone by your side that you can like seek help from, and go to for help, for advice, for a lot of things that now we do with friends. So friends is someone who you can find, someone who you can go to when you need help, someone who you go to for advice. And even though he didn't talk about it in a friendship way, but an ally is actually a friend. And he actually mentioned a lot of qualities of allies, which are actually qualities of a good friend throughout his book. What about you, Ines?
Well, indeed, his mention of friendship is not explicit in the book, but he mentioned alliances and acquaintances, as you said, Hanan. But in my opinion, he depicts like friendship in somehow a cold and a calculating way that is not really honest, and I guess this is why we don't have that much luck in friendship nowadays. But knowing someone for a long time, in my opinion, doesn't make them a friend. It only makes them friendly. And uh, when you read between the line, he underlined one fact. It is that no matter your alliance or your relationship with your acquaintances or anything, you have to know who to trust to be able to call them a friend. Like, you have to know who to trust, and never, even when you trust, never trust blindly.
Yeah, and another important point to mention about friendship is actually self-awareness. Okay, so if we know ourselves, we will know which people we should be friends with and which people we should not be friends with. And this is implemented in the chapter of self-awareness when he said that leaders must first know themselves so that they can know their enemies. I really love how this book have a philosophical side, and this urges me to ask you a really important question. So, in your opinion, guys, what is the one secret ingredient of a victorious war, and how can you use this ingredient in a situation when you lead a business project?
For me, I think the secret ingredients for victory is actually seeking opportunities. We tend in real life to kind of miss out on opportunities that we have. The kind of A team, the golden chance of something, we just miss out on it. For for like winning, I think it's actually about knowing when to act up on something and not missing it, because it takes a lot of courage and trust in oneself to jump on opportunities that we get in life. So, what do you guys think?
So, to me, the one secret ingredient of a victorious war is actually good preparation. And good preparation includes having sufficient knowledge about the circumstances of the war. So before one engages himself and his whole army into war, it is really important for a leader to make, or let's say in our modern terms, to make a research about the war. So he needs to make calculations about the environment where the battle is going to take place, about the number of his army, about the materials, and he also needs to have enough knowledge about his opponents, like about their weaknesses and strengths. So here it's about the importance of having enough knowledge. And if I am to apply this secret ingredient in the business, in the field of business, so let's say that I'm going to lead a business project. So before anything else, I need to prepare myself. And this preparation includes having sufficient knowledge. I need to make a research before I actually engage myself and my whole team to this business project. I need to know what's going on in the field of business, what are the goals that we want to reach, What about my team? What about my opponents also? And if I am to be honest, this element or this element of having sufficient knowledge, we must use it in our daily life.
Guys, speaking about all this, have any of you heard about Memento Mori?
What's that?
Memento Mori is a philosophy that is like, the word is Latin of like a reminder of death. And what you just said about victory and everything reminded me of this, and it's kind of mentioned in the book. He used it to kind of always remind leaders and others, basically, to stay humble and have concrete expectations, because after whatever you do in life, you're going to die. So it's always better to not kind of go head to up high with whatever you do in life. Do you guys think that people nowadays should use this philosophy? By the way, this philosophy is actually afterwards used by Stoics of Rome, like old Stoics, and nihilists like Nietzsche and everyone. They use this to kind of always stay humble and concrete and realistic and everything. Do you think people nowadays should use this more?
To get back to your question, I guess using that philosophy, especially with leaders, because I guess in modern times, some leaders, I mean politically, are drawn in the power they have. And Memento Mori, I guess, would be good for them to realize how much it would be harming for the whole world, to not soften their power and just going on with their murders or battles, warfares, and more hatred to come. So Memento Mori, I think, with leaders would be a good philosophy. For the last question, guys, to wrap this up, how would you relate to this book in your daily life after reading it? Like,
I personally love how the chapters of the book are kind of complementing each other. Like, each chapter has a lot to provide for anyone, but altogether they kind of give you like a lot of inspiration and aspiration. I loved how he didn't just emphasize on just one skill or two skills, or like mastering one skill, like so you can be like perfect at it, which is something that we kind of lack in daily, like today in our daily life. Everybody is focused on like being perfect at their job or having one hobby that they excel at and everything, and they would kind of stagnate and struggle with a lot of their aspects. I mean, there is a whole chapter called weak point and strong point, because we can't be perfect and we have a lot of strengths and a lot of weaknesses, and it's kind of balanced. It's like the quote that said, "Jack of all trades is a master of none, but still he's better than master of none of one," which I really liked how with this book it kind of opened my mind that I need to focus on a lot of aspects in my life, a lot of things that I am good or bad at, and just stop focusing on one thing and give it my all because I want it to be perfect. Well, while if that thing kind of stopped existing in my life, I'll be just nothing.
I somehow understood the opposite of what you, like how you relate to the book, Hanane. Like, I relate to it in a way that what I got from it was that kind of talks about all challenges of life, but in kind of like he analyzed them in a small, precise, detailed way that it kind of seemed small, like that it's not that much of a big deal at the end of the day. So what I kind of got from it is like I have to, like, enjoy life in a peaceful way and enjoying the process of whatever I'm gonna try to achieve it, as basic as it is.
Yeah. So for me, aside from the tactical aspects of a war, the book really has a profound philosophy, a philosophical side to it. In fact, we can say that war is part of our life, and it's a human nature to engage in battles, to defeat opponents, to dominate, and to seek victory. Like even sometimes we find our own selves in a battle, like we are in a battle against ourselves. The thing is that in order for us to win these constant battles, we need to rely on intelligence, like either in war or in our daily life.
Thank you so much, guys, for your opinions and for being here, of course. Thank you for our community to watch this video. See you in the next time. Thank you so much.